believed that the only way to ensure that my business was going to be there tomorrow is just by casting as big of a net as possible. Like I always, and that was really I don't know if I'm going to say this correctly, but I scared myself into making sure that my conversations were intentional and they were always premeditated to leave that why I did things. So I never forgot it. I always kept that at the forefront because I believed, like you said, in order to get away from the ebbs and flows, you have to have enough people. Like you've got to have the biggest audience possible to ensure that if you were talking to if you had 600 people in your database, I would hope that at least 10% of them were going to be doing something annually, which was 60 people a year.
Yep.
So.
And that's the realization I've come to. It's, when you're operating as thin as I operate now because of my newness in the business, every deal is highly important. And
right.
And so, but anyway, the interesting part this week is I had, I took another application this week. That's a good thing.
That is awesome.
I had a deal that I thought was going to go away, came back to me.
All right. How did it come back to you?
It was just one of those deals that it didn't appraise by a fair amount, and the sellers were fighting on it. And,
so what ended up happening?
They decided we went through appraisal. We went through our in-house appraiser to get a judgment, and it went through rebuttal, and it didn't move in any direction. The appraisal was supported. And so I guess the seller and the listing agent finally said, okay, I guess we got to play.
Do you know how often that happens?
I don't.
It happens almost on 90% of the deals.
Really?
Very rarely, if any, adjustments to the value ever get made, unless it was such a gross, negligent appraisal.
Yep.
It very rarely ever comes down to the comparables.
Yep.
And more times than not, what ends up happening is the realtor fights it because the realtor doesn't want to get egg on their face. And that's on the selling side. The buying side, our agent hates the fact that the value came in less because that means that the realtor didn't do a really good market analysis of the house, and now they're going to get egg on their face.
Yep.
And it goes back to what we've always talked about, which was setting proper expectations, managing people's fears, and most realtors fail miserably at it. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. We're in a market where sellers are asking top dollar for their house, and we're coming off a market where the values have plummeted, and so we're dealing with the battle of the value might be there, but the banks aren't going to value it based on what you're willing to pay for it. They're going to value it based on what the market bears.
Yep.
But it goes back to who ends up having to feel the pressure and fight the fight? We do, knowing full well that the appraiser, who we can't even talk to, can give a flying whatever about what the value is. They're coming in going, this is my license.
Yep.
So very rarely, if any time, does it ever change, and you end up going back to the listing and the selling agent saying, I can fight it, but you better be prepared to either let it go or tell everybody that it makes sense that we need to readjust the value accordingly based on the market. And more times than not, they either walk away, which is what happens most of the time, but sometimes they do end up coming to an agreement and coming in with a realization that the value, is the truth, and they just need to come to reality.
And that was the case this time. Now, the interesting part of the story is that I went through a rebuttal process about 6 weeks ago, and there was a big adjustment.
Negligence on the appraiser's part.
Absolutely. So it's an interesting business I'm discovering.
Yep. I will tell you that adjustment happens 1 out of every 20 times. You got you caught a unicorn. Truly caught a unicorn.
All right.
So all right. Well,
that's been the week.
What? Good. So one new application. How's October shaping up? Because I remember 2 weeks ago you and Kat gave me some commitments.
I think I was shooting for 4 for the month. I'm going to probably come up 1 short, and based on timing. Okay. But I'll be good. I'll be that much better going into November. I mean, the deals are there. It's just not going to close in time.
Got it. Well, I guess you know what the deal is. If the deals are there, then you accomplished your goal of increasing your volume and having a better month than you did 4 months ago before we started this class.
Absolutely.
Great. Awesome. What about you, Kat? How are you doing? How is October shaping up for you?
Well, October, my my loan fell through, but like Bruce said, I have about 4 things now moving over into November, so that's good.
So we really were off by 1 month.
1 month, yeah.
Okay. But you know, this does open up the question, though. When we talk about our businesses having highs and lows, which I will tell you from being in it for so long, I hated it. I couldn't stand the ebbs and flows of the business. Later in my career, because of the pure volume of people that I had worked with and the number of people that I had talked to and the number of referrals that were coming in, I had created a benchmark. Like, I knew that if I simply showed up to work and answered my phone, I was going to close at least 5 or 6 loans a month just for being here, you know, just existing. And you guys aren't there yet, but right now you guys have a benchmark. You guys know that if you show up every single day and do what you're supposed to, you're almost assuredly going to close 1 to 2 deals a month, at least. And right now that's your benchmark. But what you need to be working towards, which is why we're going to be working on role playing today, is understanding the power of being intentional and hearing yourself talk and hearing what words come out of your mouth and understanding what you say and listening back to it should help you guys get a little bit greater clarity. I know, Kat, and you and I spoke about this earlier this week, and Bruce, you and I didn't get a chance to talk about it, but I shared, Kat, with you the story about Denise and that client that was referred to us.
Yes.
Okay. So for Bruce's sake, I'll make it a very short version of it. So Bruce, I have a client of mine that I've been doing business with him and his family for 15 plus years. He's referred me countless numbers of people. He referred me another person, which is one of his colleagues at work. Well, I'm not a licensed LO anymore, so I had to pass it over to Denise. So Denise schedules the appointment, and I say to her, I said, I'd like to come and do the opening presentation. I want to do what I used to do for my clients, and you could take over the loan. She said, no problem. So I went in there, met them, spent 15 minutes, and just really laid it on thick. Talked about the triangle of trust, talked about the want versus need, talked about family, talked about why Constantine has constantly referred us. Talked about, you know, how we're going to manage his expectations, talked about the turbulence, talked about all the things that could go wrong while constantly laying down our business is built on relationships, and we count on our clients to advocate us. So I laid it on thick, and I was doing it really to amplify for Denise, who's my wife, the power of what it was I was saying. And so I left after 15 minutes, and an hour later she comes back and she sits down and she goes, I got to be honest with you, Doug, that was really uncomfortable. I said, what do you mean uncomfortable? And she said, you really just kind of were like over the top, and that was, you know, that was awkward. I said, okay, maybe so. Well, let's just see what happens. I said, promise me throughout the process that you're just going to always remind them every time you hear the word thank you, to remind them to not keep you a secret or to keep you at top of mind, or, you know, please remember me. She said, okay. So 60 days later, they close. At the closing table, Martin, who's the client, has a referral for Denise. One of his colleagues is looking at buying a $450,000 house, and he wants Denise to call him. Great. I said to Denise, I said, so what do you think was the reason that he referred you? Was it because you did a really good job? And she goes, I would hope so. I said, but you've done a really good job with other people in your career, but they haven't referred you, at least not consistently. She's like, yeah, you're right. I said, do you think that what I said in the beginning and your efforts as the loan unfolded probably played a equal part in allowing him to refer you? And she paused for a second. She's like, I think so. I said, let's say it another way. Had I laid the expectations out in the beginning and you did a horrible job, do you think you would have gotten a referral? She goes, absolutely not. I go, so if I didn't set the expectations and you didn't do a good job, we're almost guaranteed not to get a referral. She goes, absolutely. I said, but if I didn't set the expectations in the beginning, but you did a really good job, it's fair to say that you might have gotten a referral, but the likelihood is probably unsupported, or history would show that you probably may get a referral, and there was probably about a 20% chance that they would have referred you just because. She's like, yeah. So I go, let's put it into two perspectives. So the originator, which was me in this transaction, laid it on thick and used the loan officer, did a good job reminding them. And I said, by the way, how many times did you remind them? She goes, ugh, probably maybe 2 or 3 times. She goes, I wasn't consistent. I go, okay. So even though you were inconsistent, but you did a great job, and I laid it on thick in the beginning, you were given a $450,000 mortgage at the time of closing. She's like, yeah. I said, so because of the origination tactic that I used, and because of your great loan officer skills, we actually doubled our business off of one transaction. Which the point is this. If you're not setting the expectations up at the very beginning of your meetings, you're losing out on 50% of the chance that your effort, and let's be clear about this, your effort of being a loan officer is going to go unrewarded beyond just the acknowledgement of great job or an attaboy. The truth is that those are wonderful words to hear, but they don't pay the bills. So if you're not being the originator at the onset of every conversation and every meeting, all the effort you put into your loan officering job is going to go largely unrewarded. And I think that's one of the greatest travesties of our industry, is that we don't differentiate between what it means to be an originator and what it means to be a loan officer. You catch what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It was a powerful eye-opener for her, and for me, it allowed me to connect the dots and go, oh my gosh, I see it clearly now. I've always understood the difference between the two, but I never was in the position to really magnify it so that somebody else could see it. I did it with my team, but because I was so intimately involved in my team, I was still making the calls throughout the process and updating my clients at times. And it was really where I started in the beginning with her, and I had no communication with the client, and I still haven't since that first 15 minutes. Nothing. Which makes me realize that you can be an amazingly great loan officer and close your loans on time and deliver what's expected. But if you're not laying the foundation in the very beginning, you're really losing out on, I think, a 50 to 60% increase in probability that you'll get a referral. So with that being said, it goes back to why we're talking today. The call today is, I'm getting some feedback from somebody's behind a dump truck.
I'm sorry, hold on. Yeah, hold on just a second.
If I was behind a dump truck, I'd be in trouble because I'm in my house.
If I was behind a dump truck, I would be playing in the sandbox. I'd have my shovel and my shorts on and my flip-flops and a bucket and be like, let's go. So, Kat, here's a funny for today. I heard this week, and I've been telling everybody, and I think it's a riot every time I hear it. Kat, are you there? Still not there. Bruce, you got nieces and nephews, don't you?
I've got nieces and nephews and grandkids.
Oh, grandkids.
Yeah, I'm here.
Right.
I can hear you.
All right, good deal. So here's the funny for today to kind of get everybody smiling and get in a good mood. How many times do you have to tickle an octopus to get it to laugh?
How many?
Tentacles.
One.
Nice.
Oh, God. Did you hear that, Kat?
Yeah.
Even when you say it, it's funny. I mean, I still laugh, and I've said it probably 20 times this week.
That's funny.
So, all right, let's jump into it. So the whole reason that we're having this call today and why I want you guys to talk is because I want you guys to get more comfortable with what you sound like so that it becomes more comfortable to say it to others. I want you to learn, and not really learn, I want you to be more intentional and deliberate as to why you say these things. Our mindsets are there, but I want you guys to realize that the production of your business basically requires you guys, because you're not spending any money on marketing or advertising. You're not pushing yourselves in the social media realm. So really what you're choosing to do is, I'm choosing to build my business organically, and that requires you to be vulnerable, it requires you to be intentional, and it requires you to be genuine. And that's what I'm hoping to get out of today's class. So Kat was kind enough to call me earlier this week, and I thought we had a really good call, don't you think?
Yes, very much.
Awesome. So with that being said, since I think, Kat, you're probably the most prepared, and I want Bruce to hear how good you're going to sound, why don't you go ahead and jump into it. I'm going to give you, let's just say, let's take 15 minutes. And this presentation, tell me what you're actually going to be, set the stage for us, I guess.
Okay, well, I thought we were going to be, I was going to be calling, this is like an example of a cold call where I'm trying to get a realtor to meet me for coffee.
Great. Bruce, Kat, I want you to talk to Bruce as if he was a realtor. And Bruce, I want you to play the part of the realtor. I don't want you to be condescending or arrogant or the way that realtors treat us when we call. I just want you to be vulnerable enough to listen to what she has to say, but challenge her and get her, I mean, play the part of somebody that's trying to help her get better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I want you two to do this because I want to see how the dialogue goes, and I think, Bruce, your responses to her conversation are going to help you and vice versa.
Absolutely.
All right, let's do this. Hey, Kat.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Kat,
yes,
you're about to leave after this call, and you're going to go hang out with your friends for a couple hours.
Yeah.
You've got the afternoon to yourself. I want to feel the energy coming out of your voice about not. You know, I want to feel it more than I want to hear it. You get it? You get me?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Rock and roll when you're ready. You're welcome. And
okay.
This call is being recorded, so don't feel like you have to be perfect. Just let it be you.
Okay. So Bruce, I'm gonna ask you to say hello first.
What's that?
Say hello like if you were answering the phone.
Hello, this is Bruce.
Hey Bruce, this is Catherine Matthews. You and I have actually not met. I saw your name on a Facebook post where you were being honored as the top producer this past month. I just wanted to say congratulations.
Well, thank you, Catherine. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, I know that you obviously are very busy, and I understand that you, hold on. Oh, I wondered if you might be able to take some time this week or next week and have a cup of coffee with me so that I can pick your brain a little bit about your business and the real estate market here in the upstate.
Catherine, I think I can probably make that happen. You know, what are we going to try to accomplish, really?
Really, I just wanted to, since I'm new in the business, I'm just trying to get a good idea of how you started your business, maybe some feedback that you might want to give me about lenders that you've worked with in the past. Just trying to make sure that I set myself up well for the future.
Yeah, we can make that happen.
Okay, wonderful. When would be a good time for you?
What is your? My calendar's fairly open the first part of the week. How about Tuesday at about 11 o'clock?
Okay, perfect. I'll put you down.
Sounds good.
Okay, great.
Awesome. I loved it. I thoroughly loved it. It felt genuine. It felt like you were genuinely interested in meeting with somebody. What I would do, because Bruce didn't ask this, but I think most realtors might, they would ask you, so are you a lender? And I think you need to be prepared to respond with, I am a lender, but I have to be honest with you. This meeting has nothing to do with me trying to get business or me trying to solicit you for, you know, to solicit you. I'm really calling you because I'm trying to gain a, like you said, a better perspective on how I can build a business like yours, and I'm meeting with top realtors in the area to find out what services I need to focus on to help my clients love me like your clients must obviously love you.
Mhm.
That's not a sales call, is it?
No.
Do you see how the impression that you leave saying that is going to make the realtor see you differently already?
Mhm.
And in the conversation, I'll be honest with you, that was a 3-minute conversation. That really didn't take long.
Mhm.
And you literally can figure that you can make that call happen in less than 5 minutes if they talk to you.
Right.
The result of having an honest and open conversation with somebody about what their successes have been is what I label under a casual conversation. We've talked about how people tend to hear you first, and then when they like you, they start to listen to you. I believe that once people get to listen to what you both have to say, they're going to start realizing the value of who you are. That's my opinion. Tell me what you think, Kat.
I agree. And I actually just had a team meeting this morning. We have a team conference call every Friday morning. And John, who I don't know if you've got to meet him yet, or I know we were supposed to meet this past week. Yeah, John Hinks.
I have.
He was telling me, he was telling me about how he was telling the whole team about how he decided that he was going to take this approach of, not being just kind of like passive in talking to his realtors and things like that, but making it more of a, asking for the business and just being, real and vulnerable with them and letting them know that, that's how we survive, basically, and not just being the cool guy that, that knows a bunch of people, that, we actually would like your business. He said that he turned one afternoon of I called it his power hour, where he unplugged from everything for an hour and a half and reached out to people that he knows and he's already worked with. And I think he said it got like 1.5 million out of it.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
So it was kind of similar to the way that I've described it with you guys, right? I mean,
exactly. That's what I was thinking the whole time he was talking. Yep.
When you and let me, I can't express it any more genuinely than this. Kat, when you and I talked about how you have to prepare your mind for it, it's not something that it's not like you got to go into a locker room and get all pumped up. It's really just a shifting of your energy to realize that you're not picking up the phone to make a sale. You're picking up the phone to try to help amplify somebody's business and amplify the relationships that they already have. If somebody told me that for every relationship I had, I could help magnify it and turn my business up 30 to 40% if I added this one person who is willing to help me and who is willing to help grow my business as a partner, I don't know a single person, and I didn't. I mean, I took full advantage of it. I let a coach mentor me and teach me and show me the way of doing this, and I bought into it hook, line, and sinker back in 1996, and it's been a part of my life ever since. And it's really just the simple reality of when you come from a place of service, when you believe that what your role in this business is, which I can't say it loud enough, it is not mortgages. You're in this business not to close loans. You guys are in this business to help amplify people's relationships. That's really what you're doing. You happen to do it through mortgages because you guys are really good at it. But at the end of the day, the mortgage that you get is a result of it's a tool in which you help amplify people's relationships. Man, it's like you're a 5-hour energy drink for every client that comes to see you. That's all you are. And your job is to get them to be so excited and so happy and so passionate about what you do. I'm sorry, not what you do, about why you do it and who you are, that they adamantly go back to the realtor with a little bit of suggestion from you and say thank you, but then they become advocates of your business throughout the process. And that's why the reminders, that one of the posts in the Band of Partners is, these are the hot words. These are the key topics. I think there's 8 of them. Keep me in mind. Don't keep me a secret. I mean, things like that are always a great tool, and it's a great edge. And now that you guys have got loans in the pipeline, it becomes infinitely easier because you've got a group of people that know you, like you, and trust you. You've got a listing agent, you've got a selling agent in most cases, and you've got a buyer multiplied by 2 most of the time. There's literally 4 people that if you guys talk and leverage the relationship correctly, you have 4 people that will turn around and sing your praises if you A, play the originator, and B, be a good loan officer. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Exercise the demons. And that's really what this is about, man. This is about your mind, shifting your mindset and being, like I said, being intentional. You have to be intentional. The story of what Denise went through with me and that client is an example of, if you don't, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You really are. All right, that's enough. Kat, did you feel like this exercise was worth it?
Definitely, yes.
Okay, because when we do the replay, you can jump right to that spot and you can listen to yourself. And the more times you listen to yourself, the more you will believe what you say, and you will begin to learn how to add things and prepare yourself for how you're going to leave a voicemail. Because leaving a voicemail is, you're not going to leave that on a voicemail. You go, hey, my name's Catherine Matthews. You don't know me from Adam. I got your name and number off a Facebook post. I understand you got a great real estate practice. Dude, a realtor is going to think you're a client. They're going to freaking pick up the phone and call you. And you're going to be like,
yeah.
Mr. Rice.
Yes, sir.
You have some big shoes to fill, brother.
I do, and I knew that was going to be the case.
Kat's got it. She's fixing to prove you as being the B child, not the A child.
Ah, okay.
She's taking the lead right now. She wants to be the valedictorian.
There you go. Well, she is certainly a worthy advisor and opponent here.
Tell me why.
Well,
tell her why. Tell her why. Don't tell me why. Tell her why.
Kat, you spoke with confidence, and as Doug said, yeah, and you probably didn't feel like you were confident, but I perceived you as being confident. I perceived you as truly being interested in me, and that to me was the most important part of it. So it didn't feel salesy. It felt like that you were looking to learn more about me and utilize that to obviously it's your benefit, but to utilize with sincerity what I had to say.
Mm-hmm.
Kat, what do you have to say about that?
Oh, thanks. That's what I was hoping for. I think that's what.
Don't say that. Don't say hope. I hate hopium. Hopium's a drug.
Okay.
We're trying to get you guys off the drug, so let's not talk about the drug. It just makes you want to relapse.
So
be intentional.
Yeah.
Say it like you're.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. Thank you.
Awesome, and I sincerely believe it. I sincerely felt like you were there trying to have a genuine conversation with somebody because you believe they have some knowledge that you would benefit from, and through the conversations, it gets you a chance to possibly create a new friend.
Exactly.
And honestly, Kat, every time you sit down with somebody, who doesn't fall in love with you? Like, who doesn't want to hang out with you? Who doesn't enjoy hanging out and talking to you? Not many people, I bet.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah.
See? You know, I tease my wife Denise because when we first met, we were we were at the Tampa conference, which was our first conference of the company, and I had just taken this role in 2013, and we went for a run. I asked her to go for a run. We got on the subject of running, and I typically run in the mornings. And we were running, and she's like, and she kind of said something to me, and I looked at her and I said, well, it's because I'm kind of a big deal. And that's been a phrase of mine for probably the last couple years. And when people ask me, why do you think you're kind of a big deal? I said, I don't think I'm a big deal. I just say I'm kind of a big deal because I understand human emotions. I understand relationships. I have a higher than average emotional intelligence because I've studied this for so long. And I said, I just get it. And it was funny because as we were running and I was telling her this, she's like, yeah, well, you know what, it's so, she goes, there's probably not going to be a man out there for me because my standards are too high. And what came out of my mouth next really even today shocks me because it wasn't premeditated. It really was, I said to her, I said, well, maybe you're looking too far away from who's under your nose. And I genuinely thought that maybe there are people in her life that are close to her that she's just not really looking at. Lo and behold, you know, it was that comment that she said, that's when, she goes, that's when I kind of started thinking about what you said. And not that she fell in love with me at that moment, but it was something that planted a seed. When you believe that you're kind of a big deal, not arrogantly, but when you believe that you bring value to the table, when you believe that people are better for knowing you than not knowing you, and when you believe that what you do is really predicated on helping others, it's so much easier to make these calls. And when somebody doesn't receive you or when somebody doesn't accept you, you look at them and go, that's literally not my problem. Yeah. And that's why it's so important to believe what you're talking about, and it has to be genuine, because for the people that don't get it, you can't save everybody. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, and when I say things about realtors and not being capable of managing their own checkbook, or I wouldn't trust my financial future on a real, I mean, those are largely due in part to the mindsets that most agents have. And the cool part is, really the cool part about all this, is that you guys can master this and take it to your realtor base and start teaching them. How would it be, how cool would it be to have a realtor call once a week with 5 of your agents, teaching them how to say and improve their dialogue to help improve their referability, which is what we're doing. Mm-hmm. Damn, right? Mm-hmm. All right, Bruce, I'm done stalling. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, buddy.
I didn't call you this week, but I've given quite a bit of thought. And this has been, like I say, I told you earlier, it was a very interesting week. I took an application this week, and this is not the direction I'm going to take this call, yeah. But I do want to share with you that when I took it was with a young man who I've spoken with numerous times, pre-qualified him a couple weeks ago. But this is our first face-to-face, and it was in a coffee shop to actually go through all the disclosures and get the signed letter of intent.
Oh, I can hear it in my ears now, buddy. My heart's starting to pound. Love it.
And to use your term, I was very deliberate in setting my expectations.
Oh my God, I'm starting to cry.
And I was very deliberate in letting him know that I need him to tell people about me. If if at the end of the day he's happy with what I'm doing for him.
Yes.
And he's a young man. He's 26 years old. He's a sales guy. Well, I told him, I said, you know, I'm a 35-year sales guy. We got a lot in common.
Yep.
And he looked at me at the end of that conversation. He said, yeah, that was great, because you know what? I'm 26 years old. I know a lot of people that are going to be buying soon. and I be completely transparent. I was not smooth. It sounded like poop to me, but at the end of the day, evidently the sentiment was expressed.
One man's trash is another man's treasure.
There you go. But that was kind of
here.
neat.
Right. Listen, what you guys hear from me is 20 years of practice. I don't even, if I'm not in my groove, I don't feel like I sound right. There are times that I teach these classes or have these calls and I hang up and I'm like, ugh, that was awful. But you guys I would hope you guys don't ever feel that way, or if you do, you need to say something so that I can, be more mindful of it. But more often than not, I don't think you guys feel like I'm not on, or I'm not saying something that's relevant. I mean, I may go off on tangents sometimes. You might think I'm a little bit crazy, but as a general rule, you don't think that what I'm saying is poop. The truth is that what your client heard is really broken down into a couple different words. You are genuine, you are considerate, and at the end of the day, you value his relationship with you more than anything. And he was probably referred to you, right?
He was referred to me by a realtor.
And did you use that realtor and client relationship to leverage your relationship with the realtor?
Absolutely. This is that's a whole different story. But yeah, it's the whole big story is pretty cool. This is a new realtor. I helped him with his first deal. This is his second deal.
Yep. We can all benefit from the story, Bruce. So you're stuck.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, here's how the story. You can't
set us up for that. You can't give us a teaser like that and go, well, I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah.
Too bad.
All right.
For another time.
Here's how the story goes. My manager, Kevin, walked in my office one day. He said, there are two young people that I've known since they were in high school. She's a realtor. He does about 5 things, but he's going to become a realtor. I'd like you to talk to them. He said, by the way, don't screw it up. I know their families.
Good old Kevin, not to set any pressure on you, right?
So I had coffee with them 3 days later. Yep. She's the realtor working for his uncle, who's been around forever. I've known his uncle over the years, and not well, but to say hello enough to. Anyway, had coffee with them on Friday. The following Tuesday, I go to this business meeting called BNI. You're familiar with it, Doug. I'm not sure.
Oh, I am. BNI.
And somebody, the realtor in the group, walked up to me and said, Bruce, I want you to meet Nathan. And I turned around and looked at him and said, you don't have to introduce me. We've met. Well, he and I became his mentor within BNI. So I've been working hard to build this relationship. I can't get his wife to give me anything in terms of business, but this young man is becoming a good source, and he's 26 years old as well, so he'll be around a long time. But so that's kind of the backstory on that whole deal leading into this conversation on this week. Now, the other part of the story is that this young man I was meeting with also used to work with the realtor in a different industry. So there's lots and lots of history there, and so I appreciate the trust that the realtors put in me. And like I said, this young man had a bad experience with a credit union when he didn't like it, and he said to me, I am more comfortable today with you than I was ever with that credit union person.
Oh, it's the Holy Grail. It's the Holy Grail. You're drinking from the Holy Grail. You're never going to age. It's always going to provide you life.
So it was a good day.
Awesome. Awesome. So how did you connect the dots with the realtor, with the client, when you met with him?
I talked about it. I said, tell me about your relationship with Nate. I basically started really stories about, things, that Nate's wife is pregnant. He's, oh yeah, it's great, it's first child. And it just really got, kind of personal as far as what we knew about each other. And turns out that this young man is in an industry that I was sort of involved in years ago, and I know some people in his industry.
Did you leverage the reality of the power of the relationship and why you need him to become an advocate of your business?
I think I did, but kind of lead me down the path is what you're thinking. I'm not sure.
The whole reality of when you have such a great rapport with somebody, the conversation takes less than a minute to go, this is why you are so important to me, because of the realtor and because of Kevin Wildman, and here's how Kevin, my manager, knows them and why this realtor relationship is so vitally important, and through that relationship I got to meet you and the whole triangle of trust conversation, and that's why as we move forward, I I need, like you said, and I sometimes would actually say hope intentionally. I go, I hope, well, no, I don't hope. I need you to understand that as we go through this process, your advocacy to the people you care about is what allows me to show this realtor who you have a great relationship with and my manager how good of a job we're doing. And that's going to propel me to future transactions. So I want you to become an advocate like the realtor is and like my manager is and so forth. And after you're done saying that, it leaves an impression on people. It leaves that impression to where they leave going, I understand. Like, I get it. He feels comfortable with you. But the message of saying, I need, like you said earlier, is exactly what you have to say. But sometimes painting the picture in that way helps to help drive the point home. And I think the rule of thumb is, I think you have to do something 25 times in order for it to become a habit. Mm-hmm. I think in this particular case, you've almost got to say your business is 100% referred. I think you got to say it almost 10 or 15 times every chance that you get, and end your sentences with, that's why my business is. That's why I need you. That's what I count on. That's what I'm asking for, is the referral, is the advocacy to the people they care about. So just something to add to your process already, which is already phenomenal. So it's just yet another step in the, it's just yet another level up.
Yeah.
Still fantastic.
Couple things you just said that rang true, and I'm taking notes as you're talking. So,
right. What were the couple things that rang true?
Well, I think it's just it's an open-ended statement. My business is 100% referred. That's why ... and I can fill in the blanks after that. Any number of ways I can take lots of directions. That to me is just an easy part of the conversation.
It is. It's so easy, especially when you get them leaning into you. People tend to, their nonverbal is always very kind of closed off. But when you see them start to listen and you see their nonverbal indicate that they're engaged, man, that's when you just go in for the kill. That's when you just start laying on thick and thick and thick, and that's when they're the most receptive to it.
Yep.
And most people, most consumers, they don't know how to articulate it like we do, but they feel it. Like, they know what they're looking for. They know when they're working with somebody that they can trust and feel comfortable with. Like he said, I feel more comfortable with you than I ever did with a credit union. That's the one thing you can't get from the internet and the banks and the credit union. That's your unique selling proposition. Your ability to amplify relationships by making people trust and like working with you. That's the whole nuance of everything we're working on. So, all right, brother, I'm done talking. I'm sorry, I get excited about this stuff. So let's hear it. You can always tell me to shut up too. It works.
No, the more you talk, the more things I take away. So we're good. Right. As far as the presentation portion of it, I'm going a different direction than Kat did, and this is, as we've gotten into these conversations and in our processes, I've realized that one of the pillars that you've talked about, which is probably in my case the most important because of my age, background, and experience, I'm ignoring it a lot. I shouldn't say ignoring it. I've avoided it for some reason. Don't know why, but I'm going to make it a point of correcting it, and that is my, in my realtor speak, sphere of influence. But it's really those people that I've built relationships over the years, whether they're clients or friends or whatever. I had an awakening over the evening when I saw a Facebook page from the woman that introduced my wife to me 35 years ago, and she announced that I bought a house. Well, my first reaction is, fantastic. Why didn't you call me, jerkweed?
Yep.
And she knows I'm in the business. Yeah, so it's like, you know what? I obviously missed an opportunity at some point in time to reinforce to her what I do.
Yep.
Despite the fact we've known each other for 35 years, she follows me on Facebook. She follows my business page. She knows what I do. I didn't get a phone call.
Wow, that is a humbling experience, isn't it?
Yep. Yep. So it reinforced to me that I need to do a better job reaching out to those people that I know, like, know and love. And so the direction I'm going with this presentation today is with a person who I met when I was a realtor about 12 years ago. She was a first-time buyer. She was 21 years old. She was a very impressive young lady. Finished a bachelor's degree in 2 years, had very definite goals, and one of her goals was to buy a house by the time she was 21. And I helped her do that. And I followed her over the years since. We've had periodic conversations. She now lives in Grand Haven over on Lake Michigan. She owns 5 rental properties right along Lake Michigan today.
Jeez. Wow.
and she's now.
What's this lady's name?
Catherine. Her name now is Kate Lapine or Kate Curtis. Back her maiden name was Lapine.
Okay.
But she wasn't married then. She's now got a couple of kids, and she's just been. So it occurred to me that she's now 33 or 34 years old. We have periodic conversations, usually through Facebook now. But it occurs to me she and I need to have a really good conversation because she recently bought another rental property. Didn't use me because she didn't know about me at that point in time. As far as what I'm doing, but I need to have a conversation with her along the line that if you're going to buy any more rental properties or that sort of thing, I'd love to help you. But more importantly, you're 34 years old. You know tons of people that are positioned to buy right now. I know that you were happy with what I did for you, 10, 12 years ago because we've talked about it and because you've said it and because we still have a relationship today. So. My next conversation with her is going to be more along the line of I need your help to help me grow my business.
Bingo. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, and I know, and the wonderful part about this is that I've got a lot of people in my life that are that way. I just haven't, for whatever reason, I've avoided it, and I'm going to stop avoiding it because I think that's going to be the key to my success going forward.
Well, I think one of the pieces that you have to really be clear on for yourself is that you're not asking people to you're not asking people to pay for your life. I mean, you're not asking people to pay you by giving you leads and referrals. You're doing it because, you know what, Kate is her name? Kate. You know what, Kate? Here's what my business has evolved into. Whenever you endorse me or recommend me or advocate me to the people in your life that you care about, here's what I know is going to happen. I'm going to make sure that that person comes back to you and say thank you because I value this relationship. And do you know how good it feels when people pick up the phone and say thank you for something that you helped them with? Even though it was indirectly, you still just gave and recommended me, and I take my relationship with you so seriously. But I believe that when you refer me to the people in your life that you care about, it's going to feel really good because I'm going to do such an amazing job that they're going to come back to you and say thank you, which is really what my calling card is. It's kind of really what I pride myself on. And every time that you advocate me to the people in your life that you care about, it's a big deal for me, and I honor it with the highest regard. And it's not something I take very lightly. Because I got to be honest with you, it was really sad for me to read that you just bought another rental property, and I've been in the business for a couple years or a couple months, and I got to be honest, I feel really disappointed in myself that I didn't reach out to you sooner. A lot of it had to do with a mind shift for myself, but the bigger piece of it is that I always felt like it would be an intrusion in your life. And I realize now that that's not the case, because in order for me to help grow my business, I've got to work with the people that already know me, like me, and trust me. And those people who eagerly go out there and advocate me to the people they care about is all I care about. So if I stop the sentence right there, how many times did I say, advocate me to the people you care about? 3 or 4 times, right?
Yeah.
That's the methodology. Always bringing it back. Always, always, always making it about them.
Yep.
All right, buddy. Let's hear it.
All right. Who am I talking to here? Am I talking
you're gonna talk to Kat because she's the perfect victim for this.
Well, Kat, you are now Kate.
Okay, Kate.
Hi, Kat. This is Bruce Rice. How are you?
Hi, Bruce. Good. Bruce, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Kate, it's been a lot of fun to follow you and your family and your Facebook posts over the last couple of years. It looks like you've come a long way since the last time we saw each other.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, but well, as you know, I'm very proud of you. It takes me back to 13 years ago when you were the 21-year-old coming out of college and fulfilling your goals. And I was really honored to be able to be a part of your life to help you achieve that part of your plan and to get to know your family as well as I did. And to
Well,
see
I
you.
appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. And to see that what you've done in terms of the real estate portion of your life is hugely impressive, especially at your age. But
Well, it's been a lot of work.
Well, I know that you're planning on making that the next part of your career and leaving your career in pharmaceuticals. So I'd love to be a part of your life again and to help you achieve your goals as you move forward from here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that would be great.
So Kate, in the last month or so ago, you bought another property. This time up in, I believe, Crystal Mountain, your ski resort. And I got to tell you, I'm excited for you, but I'm a little disappointed that I wasn't a part of it. And it's my fault, not yours. I clearly didn't let you know well enough what I'm up to these days. Love to get together with you in the next week or so to have a cup of coffee and talk more about what your plans are and how I'm able to help you.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know why I didn't even think about it. I just have this guy that I've been working with, and we kind of vibe well together. But yeah, definitely, I will love to have a cup of coffee with you and catch up.
Well, good. Now, Katie, another thing I'm going to share with you is that probably the most important part of my business is to make myself as referable as possible. My business is 100% built on the referrals of those people that I've helped. And when we meet, I'd love to talk to you more about some of those people in your life that you love and care about that I may be able to help educate and point in a direction that'll help them achieve their goals as I helped you, 12, 13 years ago. Can we do that?
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
Very good. Well, Katie, let's plan on meeting next Tuesday. I'll be in Grand Haven. If you're going to be in town that day, I'd love to meet you for a coffee or a lunch, and bring Tim along too. I'd love to see him again as well.
Okay, yeah, Tuesday works great for me. That's definitely good, but I will check with Tim and see what he's got going on. If not, just the two of us will be fine too.
All righty. Well, thanks so much. Look forward to seeing you. Say hi to your mom and dad.
Same here. Thank you so much. I will.
Bye-bye now.
All right, bye-bye.
Yeah, what do you think?
That's good.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Actually, it was really good.
Yes. Yep.
Bruce, you have a very, very comfortable and very personable approach. You don't sound like you're hunting for leads. It doesn't sound like you're hunting for business.
Well, good. It felt like I was a little bit, and I obviously didn't feel smooth, but and this is why I want to pursue this direction, because to me that was comfortable. I mean, her dad's name is Bruce. I know her mom and dad. Despite the fact it's been 12 years since I've spoken with them.
Right.
I knew her husband before he was her husband. So,
right.
And I think it's, again, I look back over the last several months, and I think it's ridiculous that that's not a pillar that I've built my business on.
Right. Right. And I think the more genuine you are, and the more that you touch into that energy of genuinely wanting to help people, I think it makes it easier to ask the questions. Like, so you obviously have somebody you've been working with over the last couple transactions, and by no means do I think I'm the best loan officer for every person on every transaction, but I'm curious, what is it about that lender that you've been using that you really have enjoyed, or has it been the same lender? I mean, you could dig into that so much and make it all about her and make it all about the transaction and find out what her pain is, which makes it easier for you to satisfy it. And, if she does give you a chance. Yeah. But even if she doesn't have a need right now, asking her for permission to add you to her database or add her to your database, and asking her for permission to touch base with her from time to time and really just put it out there going, I've been in this industry now for a while, and I've been doing the loan side of it for not as long. And And what I'm looking at doing is really partnering up with people that already know me, that like me. I feel like I have a much better chance at being who I really am, working with people that are, that are referred to me from people that already, know me, like me, and trust me. And when you dig into that piece of it and you really go to that humble state, you don't come across as being needy. You actually come across as being extremely human. I mean, you come across as being extremely real. And that's you can only have those conversations with people that know you, like you, and trust you already. Mm-hmm. You don't necessarily have that with a realtor meeting for the very first time. It's almost too much. It's like telling a person on the first date that you think you love them. I mean, that's it's kind of off-putting.
Yeah.
So awesome, guys. I thought this has been, and the hour has flown by.